The last way we're going to do to solve is by graphing. So our first way was solving by factors. The second was solving by the quadratic formula. The third is going to be solving by graphing. So you'll need to do this homework assignment on graph paper. So let's review where to find that a minute. It's in Canvas. All right, so here is how we are going to solve by graphing. There's always a y1 and a y2. So if you're asked to solve the following, x cubed, which is going to make a snake type shape on your graph, equals 1. Good rule of thumb is always the left-hand side is going to go into your y1, and your right-hand side is going to go into y2. And what do those two things eventually do to each other? On your screen, what will you see them do to each other? Intersect, okay? They will cross each other. They will intersect. So what I need you to do, homework should be, there's not a whole lot of, your brain doesn't have to do a lot, you're copying. So you're going to copy the picture you see onto the graph, and then you're going to label the intersection points of the graph. All right, so let's take a look at what this graph looks like. So I've now switched my graphing calculator to those equations. 4x squared plus 7 equals 12x. Okay, now, if you watched that graph, I'm going to graph it again. Let's see if it'll do it for me. One at a time. Watch where the first graph is, because it's pretty high. The first graph is just up there. We call that a parabola. Then the second graph is going to come up and intersect pretty steeply, when I put 12x in there to graph it, intersect through that parabola. It's hard to tell where they're intersecting, so I'm going to recommend that you increase your window, your viewing window, so that you can see higher on the graph. So let's look at window. What would make my window higher? The y max. Okay, y max is going to make your window higher. So let's go up to 50 on that. And then we want to count probably by 5s or 10s. Okay, the y max. So then we can see the parabola come through, and then we can see our line.
That's a 10.
It's not quite. It's actually intersecting in two different places. We just can't quite see the gap between the two, but it is intersecting twice. So when you copy the picture onto your graphing or onto your digital graph paper, you'll want to make it a little obvious that there is an intersection. So we've got this parabola that's like this, and then our line that comes through it is actually crossing 2 times. Okay, it's hard to tell it, so try and leave a teeny little gap so that you can aim for those 2 different ones. All right, so let's go back and look at the calculator. So second trace, intersect. We'll kind of go for the lower intersection point and hit enter 3 times, and we find out that it's 0.7928. Change your window back though, because you're starting over. Okay, don't leave your window the same as the 50 on the previous problem. looks like that, kind of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Did you find the intersection? Do you want to turn off your clock? Remember, you can't have your clocks out. Now that's the value. It's a square root.